So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, title of the chapter is The Birth of Lord Krishna. Text 15 to 17. Text 15 is on the board, so we'll recite that together. So I go to text 16 and 17. So translation and purport by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. The Mahatattva, the total material energy, is undivided, but because of the material modes of nature, it appears to separate into earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Because of the living energy, Jiva Bhuta, these separated energies combine to make the cosmic manifestation visible. But in fact, before the creation of the cosmos, the total energy is already present. Therefore, the total material energy never actually enters the creation. Similarly, although you are perceived by our senses because of your presence, you cannot be perceived by the senses. You nor experienced by the mind or words. Avan manasa gochara. With our senses, we can perceive some things, but not everything. For example, we can use our eyes to see, but not to taste. Consequently, you are beyond perception by the senses. Although in touch with the modes of material nature, you are unaffected by them. You are the prime factor of everything, the all-pervading, undivided supersoul. For you, therefore, there is no external or internal. You never entered the womb of Devaki. Rather, you existed there already. Omagiyana Tumirandasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Sakshuru Melitam, Yena Tismai, Siya Gurve Maha, Suchetanya Manobistam, Stavfetam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodata, Godadhaya Puspavanto, Chetu Chando, Tamonanda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sivasari, Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pagyam ragatim kirim, yakripatamaham bande, Sri Gurum Dinatana. Namama Vishnu Pada Krishna Vistaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Etanamani, Namaste Saraswati Deva, Gauravani Pacharine, Anirvasesa Swanyavadi, Pachoti Adisatari, Vanchakalpatari Vyacha, Kripasunabhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanabhi, Vaishnava. So this chapter basically deals with the Supreme Lord, his descent into the material world. And a number of Vedic literatures give a very deep delineation about Krishna's advent. And the Harivamsa, for instance, gives a very clear insight how Lord Krishna manifesting in Mathura, in the prison where his parents have been incarcerated, and that Krishna basically is different from the Krishna that appeared in Vrindavan. The Harivamsa gives an insight that simultaneously Krishna appeared in Mathura and at the same time in Vrindavan to the son of Mona Yasoda, and at the same time, appearing, first of all, the Vishnu, gigantic Vishnu form before Devaki. I mean, we can just see people have to pass through seminal discharge. But the Lord, when he does out of his sweet will, when he wants to make himself manifest, he doesn't have to pass through all of these material processes of being inseminated into the womb, having to pass through some developmental stages, and, be forced to come out from the whole mess. But just to demonstrate how he is the master of the whole universe, he is the controller, he manifested in the gigantic form of Vishnu with all of his weapons in the prison of Kamsa. And the parents, Mother Yasoda, and Devaki and Vasudev, have to solicit that he transformed himself to a baby to be able to relate with. And again, Krishna subscribed to it, and he did exactly what his devotee wanted. And so, during that time also he had appeared in Vrindavan as a child. Of course, Prabhupada, that's why I mentioned about the Harivamsa, and the teachings or the delineations of the Harivamsa, they are confirmed in the teachings of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur when he gives an insight about Krishna's appearance simultaneously in Vrindavan and in Mathura. And how, when Nanda Maharaj took the Krishna from Mathura, Devaki Krishna, to Vrindavan, he put them on a bed, and then the two of them actually merged. But, these are a matter of details. And Prabhupada's major objective was to be able to let the whole world know, hey, here is Krishna. This is how he appeared. He is the supreme controller of the whole universe. He appeared as a gigantic form of Vishnu before his parents. And then they ordered him, he turned to a baby. So anybody reading the Krishna book will automatically realize that, wow, the Krishna, this is not an ordinary person. He must be someone completely beyond the material world. Otherwise, we never heard of this type of birth. And so the purpose of Prabhupada is not to, get people too much into, details that could really be very much complex and confusing. And so he simply relied on his purpose based on, the appearance of Lord Krishna in Mathura. But sometimes people take undue advantage, envious people take undue advantage of, Prabhupada's mission statement, his goals and his vision. That he wants to spread Krishna consciousness to the whole world, and he has to make things as simple as possible. Sometimes people take undue advantage, and out of envy, they will say, oh, we will give you what Prabhupada did not give you. What is it that Prabhupada did not give us? He gave us everything. And what is most amazing that sometimes people even leave the movement to go to join the acharyas who are still living, but the other acharya also has to leave the movement, has to leave the body. Jola Prabhupada left the body. The other acharyas also left. So what? I know some cases like that they get really confused. They went this way, and then the other person, the other acharya also has left the body. You run away. So the point is not just running like a prostitute from one man to another, or running like a sex maniac from one woman to the other. we need to be chased to be understand and absorb ourselves in the Vaishnava Vedanta philosophy. Previous acharyas have given so much of their time in giving us so much of information, spiritual science of how we can understand Krishna's appearance. To be able to confirm that, yes, Krishna's two Bhagavan Swayam. So here in this a number of texts, some analogy has been given. And we find that the Bhagavatam, or the Shastras in general, uses analogy very much in trying to delineate situations, trying to make some explications very vivid. So here in this very text, we find the analogy given how, and here it is mentioned, the Mahatattva itself, total material energy, was undivided, etc. And because of the living energy, this Mahatattva seems to have become, separated energy. In fact, Lord Krishna mentions in the Gita, Bhumi Apa Nala Vayot, Kam Mana Buddhi, Ahankar. All of these separated energies, being Prakriti, he said, they are coming from me. They're separated energies, but initially they were simply one and the same energy. And the important point here is that this Mahatattva was existing before the cosmic creation. And Lord Krishna, although, it's like we have this a spider. The spider may create a web. And then other insects, some insects will come, fly into it, get trapped. But the spider who actually made the web, he never gets entangled by that web. Similarly, the elusive energy of Lord Krishna could really entangle any conditioned soul. But although Krishna seems to be in touch with it, he never gets entangled by that same elusive energy. And therefore, we need to understand who is this personality. Now, in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma mentions how even the limbs of Lord Krishna, and this is also hinted here, we can only see with our eyes. We can only taste with our tongue. But Brahma Samhita mentions Angani Yasyasa Kalindriya Vrittamanti. The limbs of Lord Krishna are interchangeable. So when we offer the bhoga to Krishna on the altar, Krishna doesn't necessarily need to come and sit down and then he start using his hand to eat. Because his limbs are interchangeable by glancing over the food. He's eating. We glance over prasadam. That will simply create more appetite, more hunger. And therefore, we need to understand that the Jiva Bhuta is completely different from the Lord. And the Lord basically cannot be understood simply by pravacha, nayam atma, pravanena. The atma tattva, nayam atma pravachana labhya, na medaya, na bahuna, na sutena. It is Krishna or the Vishnu Tattva or even the Atma Tattva cannot be understood by simply acquiring so many degrees, being highly learned. No. Not even by becoming, a very big preacher. He gave big, seminars and big talks. That is not how we can really understand Krishna. Now, Krishna mentions in the Gita that his birth, his activities could only be understood through devotion, undivided devotion. So that much we have devotion for Lord Krishna. Krishna could reveal himself to the individual. And therefore, the whole of this manifestation, the whole of this elusive energy, the whole of the mechanism of the material world, which is simply an interchange of the three modes of material nature, and which is binding practically all living entities in this material world. Again, that is Krishna's illusory energy. And that is just his illusory energy. And essentially, one cannot become extricated from the entanglement of illusory energy except that jiva takes full shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And to take full shelter is not so easy. Sometimes the concept of surrender could just be taken for granted. And it is not so easy because surrender is integration of the whole 9 processes of devotional service put together. The hearing, chanting, praying, making friends with the Lord. So all of these have to be put in place. And the whole idea is to make things easy for the living entity. And that is the main reason why Prabhupada has established a very simple process of devotional culture, that we simply serve the Lord under the guidance of the spiritual master, under the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Because we may say, Srila Prabhupada is not there, so I don't have anyone to take instructions from. That's a very good excuse. But again, everyone needs to be guided. Because spiritual science is such a complex thing. It looks very simple, but it's the most subtle and complex science we can think of. When we meet people, we can, attract them and tell them, oh, this devotional service, just chant Hare Krishna is very simple. You just come and do it. But the taste of the food is in the eating. When we get into the devotional culture itself, we find that even to understand one statement in the Gita could be just a big problem. Or to apply even the very basics of the Vaishnava Vedanta philosophy, to apply it in our own lives, it could be such a difficult thing. If it's not difficult, everybody here would have been a Paramahamsa very overnight. So, the sum and substance of the whole illusory energy also makes things very complex. And our senses, the mind, doesn't also help. And so, what we do really need to do is to appreciate the fact that we cannot really understand Krishna in full. Because we are very finite, we are very small, and Krishna is infinite. Just think about even the different departments of knowledge in material education. Someone gets a PhD, maybe he studies a leaf to get a PhD. A leaf. What is the position of a leaf in the whole of Krishna's cosmic manifestation? In the whole of the cosmic manifestation, what would you consider a leaf to be? Is there any significance of a leaf in the whole total material creation? No. But people are very proud of their knowledge. Go study one small thing of the illusory energy, not even the Antaranga Shakti, but so this is how the living entity is bewildered in this material world. Even by the process of trying to acquire knowledge, we could become bewildered. This is also confirmed by Krishna in the Gita. And so, for us to understand the mysteries of Krishna's appearance, it's not even required. We simply have to follow what Prabhupada has given us as a legacy. And it's a very simple thing. You come to the program. You wake up from Mangarati, you come to the program, you do your job. You do your job. Because, these are the simple things that could purify us to be able to go deeper in this process of Krishna consciousness. But if we neglect these very basic principles, and we feel, again another Mangarati, again another Bhagavatam class, again another Guru Puja. And today I am sick. So, the bottom line is that the Bhagavatam is full of spiritual information, but it is also giving us an idea about how this material world has come to be. And especially the fifth canto, I think Sadhuputta did some work on the fifth canto. Of course, that is very scientific. But, for us, we don't even need those type of, too much of sophisticated, material science based on the Shastra. For us, it's just to chant Hare Krishna. Take prasadam, come and attend Prabhupada's programs. The program the Prabhupada has set down for us. And rest assured, we will be purified. Each time you read one verse in the Gita, after 2 weeks, go and read that same verse with a purport. You have a different realization. The same content, the same context. But you have different realization. Why? Because there is some purity that has taken place. And that is why you look at it or you have a better understanding or a higher understanding of what the text and the purport is saying. And so, what is befitting for us to do is to really to follow up with this process of purification, which is simply following what Prabhupada has given to us. Coming to the Bhagavatam classes. See, for those living in the temple, we don't seem to understand our great fortune. Because people are out there walking, and it's so difficult even to wake up in the morning. And here, you just very freely, very easily, and sometimes we tend to abuse the situation. We think everyone has this, everyone has got this opportunity. No. Some people are working so hard. You see, the devotees don't seem to understand what they have. Even this, you find this experience. Our devotees who are living outside, they want to be like you living inside. And some of the devotees living inside, they want to be like everyone else living outside. So this is, the bewilderment of material nature. And therefore, we need to understand that Lord Krishna has appeared to be able to remind us. Look at the situation. We may say, well, I have this challenge and that challenge. But even Lord Krishna, when he appeared, things were not easy for him and his family. Things were not easy for him and his family. If things were so easy, why was it transferred from Mathura to Vrindavan? You have a child born, and then you have to transfer your child to another place? For what? Out of fear. So things were so easy? No. You have to father the personality of Godhead, and you have to be put into jail. Imagine if your wife is pregnant and the government says, hey, come here, go to jail and wait. Let's relate this to our everyday reality. We read these things like a story, but, what does it apply to us? The material world is so easy? No, that is just the sum and substance of the demonstration. The Supreme Lord personally comes into this material world. He has to undergo these type of turbulences, what about the ordinary jiva, the conditioned soul, who is put into the jail? The Lord visited, like, we have the president of the country or the governor of the state is endowed with the prerogative of mercy. And on every Independence Day or some special day, national day, they go into the prison to exercise their prerogative of mercy. They go to free people in the prison. They don't need to have any trouble. Just go there, free people, and go. But Lord Krishna, when he has to come to the prison to try to free people, they give him trouble. They give him trouble. And so, this again is bringing to bear the workings of the illusory energy, even for the Supreme Lord. Although it's not affected, but it's just to show us how delicate it is. Bhaktisiddhanta says this material world is not a place for gentlemen. And also, gentle ladies. And so our business is to wind up this whole process of samsara. Coming to the Bhagavatam is meant for what? It's meant for our purification, and it should be our daily diet. Nasta prayesu abhadresu. It eradicates the anarthas, the sinful reactions that are left on the mirror of the heart. The Bhagavatam is capable of doing the cleansing. What we need really to understand is that Krishna cannot be so cheap. Krishna cannot be so cheap. And attaining Krishna Prema cannot be so cheap. And therefore, whatever challenges that we may face, we should remember the challenges that Krishna himself faced when he came to free people from this prison. And so, here it is mentioned how very wonderful knowledge is given on how the Lord could actually be understood in a very in a perfect way by the process of devotional service. So, purport. This same understanding is explained by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Tatta Idam Sarvam Jagat Avyakta Motina Mastani Sarvabhutani Nachayam Teshu Awastina. By me, in my own manifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not perceived through the gross material senses. It is said that Lord Sri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaha Sadeva Ridyayesu Vilokayanti. One can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, always within oneself and outside oneself, if one has developed a transcendental loving attitude toward him. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible in the above-mentioned verse from Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, it is said that although he is all-pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by the material senses. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him, as discussed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, superior spiritual energy and inferior material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet, one should not conclude that because he is all over, he has lost his personal existence. To refute such arguments, the Lord says, I am everywhere and everything is in me, but I am aloof. For example, a king heads a government, which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are not in bed the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still, one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. That is a crude example. Similarly, all manifestations that we see and everything that exists, both in the material world and the spiritual world, are resting on the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by the diffusion of different energies. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, he is everywhere present by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the cosmic manifestation simply by his glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudev. To eradicate this argument, Vasudev said, "My dear Lord, it is not very wonderful that you appeared in the womb of Devaki, for the creation was also made in that way. You were lying on the causal ocean as Mahavishnu, and your breathing, innumerable universes came into existence. And by your breathing, innumerable universes came into existence. Then you entered into each of the universes as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Then again, you expanded yourself as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu and entered the heart of the living entities and entered even within the atoms. Therefore, your entrance into the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervaded. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but a combination of the 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside the body. Similarly, although you appear as a child in the womb of Devaki, you are also existing outside. You are always in your abode, but still, you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms. One has to understand your appearance with great intelligence, because the material energy is also emanating from you. You are the original source of material energy, just as the sun is the source of the sunshine. The sunshine cannot cover the sun globe, nor can material energy, being an emanation from you, cover you. You appear to be the three modes of material energy, but actually the three modes of material energy cannot cover you. This is understood by the highly intelligent philosophers. In other words, although you appear to be within the material world, to be within the material energy, you are never covered by it. We hear from the Vedic version that the Supreme Brahman exhibits his effulgence, and therefore everything is illuminated. We can understand from Brahman Samhita that the Brahman Jyoti or the Brahman effulgence emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord. And from the Brahman effulgence, all creation takes place. It is further stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is the support of the Brahman effulgence. Originally, he is the root cause of everything. But persons who are less intelligent think that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes within this material world, he accepts material qualities. Such conclusions are not mature, but are made by the less intelligent. Any comments or questions?